Here we are, Rehab Estimator Pro. How are you today? You have got both owners here of Rehab Estimator Pro, REP, REP, whatever you're calling it these days. I love to hear everybody calling it different names. What are you hearing out there, Scott?
Pretty much the same. Rehab Estimator without the Pro, which I like the Pro.
Right, we are Pro. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love when I keep hearing like rep, because I'm thinking of some T-shirts like, "Hey, how many reps did you do today?" Right? That's
Yeah.
catchy. That's
Yeah.
catchy. So, which means how many offers did you send today?
That's right.
Is what it comes down to. So awesome. Well, you're looking good. No palm trees behind you this time. But
No. I can put the palm trees there if you want.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, that's how things have been, right? We
Yeah.
them virtually. So, well, good. Well, I am Matt Hedstrom, and this is Scott Kruzmark. So we are the team behind REP, and so we are here today to answer some pretty tough questions. Not tough for us, but it is the question everybody wants to know. What is going on out there when it comes to building materials? And we know that this market is super insane, hot, crazy, unbelievable. Yet the question keeps coming up. What do these price increases mean for real estate investors? And how does this affect not only real estate investors as a whole, okay, but also when we talk about REP, everyone's asking all the time, and I get it. I totally get it. How are you reflecting these price increases in REP's database?
Yep. That's the question I get all the time.
Right. And you're seeing all the support stuff come across. So
Yep.
not only, I think it feels twofold here. It's it is the first part, like, what's going on out there? How long is this going to last? Like,
Yeah.
what are you actually seeing? Give us some real data. So we're going to go over that today. We're going to go over some real data on price increases. And then also, we can't solve the question of, why is this happening? There are lots of different things. It's not just the pandemic. Okay.
Right.
Take, for example, I just heard yesterday, we've got 5 flips going right now, and go into our rep, Sherwin William, and I couldn't just order it with him, as far as a text message like usual, but having to come to the store and pick whatever's left on the shelves.
Oh,
Say, what is going on? I have this problem everywhere else. And they said, yeah, Texas had the big freeze, and that's their largest latex production plant. So everything froze. So it's not pandemic related, Scott, yet here we are dealing with more issues from freak occurrences. So, but also really, let's say then the other question, how can we like quantitatively or qualitatively affect, to answer the question, what do these price increases mean for us as investors when we're going in and trying to price out flips?
Right.
So we'll try to let's just kind of go over the things right now that you and I have seen, as far as, let's just talk raw lumber. It's nuts. What have you seen and heard out there right now?
Well, I've seen, folks seen prices that gone, used to be $14 a sheet. Now it's 50 something a sheet.
Right. And you're talking getting into plywood, OSB,
plywood, whatever, 2x4s, 2 to 5 times the price that it used to be.
Right.
And, I look at it as a consumer from that perspective. So I don't know a lot of how it got to where it is. I've heard some rumors.
Yep.
The one that I heard that seemed to make sense to me was that there were a couple of problems with the sawmills,
mm-hmm.
where they actually had some internal damage, fire, that kind of thing. And that some of the larger sawmills had purchased some of the small mills and put them out of business, just shut them down.
Yep.
So that's going to create a shortage. And of course, the pandemic, a lot of people, and this is true for most of the stuff that we're going to talk about today,
right,
is the pandemic, the demand dropped way off.
Yep.
So a lot of manufacturers, I'm working at one of my computer clients is a steel company, and the demand basically vanished.
Yep.
So what do they do with all this steel? What do they do with all these people? So they shut the mills down. Well, that's great until now everybody wants to buy a car and they want to build and they want to do all this stuff. So now sudden there's a huge demand for steel.
Hmm.
Same things happen in almost all the fields. All these people shut down and
Yep.
then now they're ramping back up, but they can't ramp up fast enough. And that all this pent up demand, that people are,
Yep.
wanting to rehab their houses because they're sitting around home idle, you
Yep.
know.
And that, man, we watched all of that stuff play out. And I remember getting scared and calling, dealing with several lumber yards, and, we were doing spec homes also, during this time. And it's
Oh
like,
yeah, you got hit really hard.
right. And it's like, you're looking at this going, what do you mean this, they, at least instead of dealing, I don't deal with box stores very often. But dealing with lumber yards, they had contract pricing that lasted for a while. So even though everybody was going up, they still were buying at their contract price, which they were able to pass those savings on to us still.
Right.
But you're talking about when a 2x4 8-foot stud went from $2.40 to we're now over $10, a stud. But still, I just talked to a developer yesterday that was begging me. I got him 2 framing crews going because he has 6 buildings sitting with slabs and all of the material sitting on the ground. So he's still purchasing because he still is able to pass on those costs to the end buyer. But
Right.
I'm not going to get caught with that many houses, at that time.
Oh no,
But those are real reasons. I remember the lumber yards, that was initially the problem. Now, so nobody's buying, all of a sudden, wait, nobody's working. Everyone's scared to go to work. Same thing with like the cabinet companies. Those were a disaster for a few months. And then the appliances, those are still hard to get because they stopped making cores. Okay. They stopped making cores, which takes it takes about a year to develop, from on the product line, starting with building a core all the way to end product on the shelf, for appliances. So think about all of these things. There's a resin shortage right now. Okay.
Mhm.
So my plumber is coming to me saying, dude, we're not going to be able to get PEX, fiberglass surrounds. Like they limit what we buy every day. You can only buy for a project you're dealing with, no stock, no bulk. So, I mean, even getting down to like the pool industry. And again, there was a massive fire with the largest manufacturer of chlorine or whatever it was, and so it burned down. And so now you can't get pool products. So it's across the board as far as these price increases, because there's demand, which equals now inflation, with prices going up on everything. I was recently on a missions building trip in Abaco. And at the time, and now this was 2 months ago, it was $98 a sheet for plywood.
Ouch.
Right. And so even your 7/16 OSB, going on, walls and everything, when that's getting up over 50, like that's just ridiculous. Back in the day, we used to buy it for $6 to $7 a sheet. Okay. So, but that's of course 20 years ago now, but
We got a deal for you. Oh,
right.
sorry.
So no, it's good. So I want to go after right away, because I've done this a lot with recent podcasts and talking to people. When it comes to these raw building products, when we're talking about, hey, my lumber package at 14,000 now turned into 38,000, or even your truss package, like how much is that actually really affecting the real estate investors like us who are not building houses in this? We're flipping.
Right.
How much lumber are you actually buying, Scott, for a flip house?
Hardly anything. Maybe a 2x4 or some baseboards.
Right. Right.
Maybe a door. I mean, I might have to replace a door
Yep.
and all the trim associated with it, but
right. It's
not that much.
Right. We're dealing with surfaces as real estate investors and flipping these houses. Okay.
Right.
So I just verified, because I walked the plant yesterday where they are manufacturing my cabinets. I just placed an order today, and the cabinet price has actually gone down. Okay. Why is that?
Nice.
Well, I've found a manufacturer that decided we're not raising prices. We're actually going to just re-engineer our cabinets so that if you have a raw end that's going to be sandwiched in between, so 2 cabinets are hitting each other, they're just going to put raw particle board. They don't need to put plywood, a 7-ply or a 4-ply or
Right.
so they're actually re-engineering it to make it more cost effective, besides the fact that they're still ordering bunks of plywood from their contracts that they locked up for a year. So it took me all of half a day to figure this out and get this. So we're replacing cabinets, countertops. Well, guess what? My granite prices haven't gone up, and my laminate prices haven't gone up. Paint, we're having an issue right now with latex, but that hasn't increased significantly. And so if we're replacing cabinets, countertops, flooring, paint, like these are the, bulk core products, we're not seeing the craziness out there. We're still flipping houses for the same amount. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I will say, even my flooring, I'm not there. I don't even have shortages, back orders, delays, and I'm paying the same amount for flooring. Okay. You can even find incredible deals at big box stores like Sam's Club, Costco. The LVP there is cheap and it's great product. So you may not put it in your own house as far as where you're living, but it's a great product and it's great for some of these flips we're doing.
Yeah, most of mine are rentals, so I don't want to put the nice
right.
stuff
So
in.
yeah, but even at $1.25 a square foot, that's still, I mean,
Yeah.
it's great price versus going to a retail store and paying $3 to $4, a square
Right.
foot. So I overall want to stop the I guess the overarching question of, how are we able to price these out and what can we do with all these price increases? Well, I did just get from my supplier yesterday it's steel stud, insulation, ceiling tile, and wallboard. We call it drywall, right?
Right.
Yeah. Same thing with shingles from these supply houses. 20% again across the board increases coming. I've heard drywall maybe now in short supply. My other guy drove around 5 stores to find mud the other day. So yes, we're seeing these things, but in these price increases, but still, guess what? How many sheets of drywall are you needing when you go in to flip a house? Okay.
Yeah, not many.
Right. I mean, we had one today that one of the guys called and said the previous owner, this was a sheriff sale. They had abandoned the house, but there was a section of the ceiling in the bathroom where they had installed a new fart fan. Okay. And so we needed one chunk of drywall for the whole house. Okay. That's it. We're not buying 80 to 100 sheets of drywall in these flip houses. So it doesn't affect us. Okay. Lighting, plumbing fixtures. Yes, you can't get black plumbing fixtures right now anywhere. Like Kohler isn't even making them for a year. So, but oh, well, that's not the trend is moving now towards brass again. I mean, shoot, you could take the crap that you've torn out of these houses from 20 years ago and now, bring it back if it's sitting in your garage shelf. But the point is, these things are all still available and the costs have not exponentially risen on them. So, and what is the easiest way, Scott, if you're nervous about it, or if you want to add something across the board to REP, what is the easiest way to do that?
Well, we built right in the beginning, we built it for a different reason, but it's perfectly usable for this. Just add 10%. Okay. So when you enter the address to pick the property, so you get your details on the property, in the lower right corner, there's a field that says RV multiplier.
Yep.
That number multiplied times all the prices increases the prices by that amount. So it starts out at 1. So 1 times, $100 for a window, or, $250 for a window times 1, still $250. But if you put 1.1, that's 10%. So 1.10, 10%. Then you can increase all your prices simply by putting in 1.1. And you can set that as a default, but this stuff isn't going to last forever.
Right.
It'll last for a while, and we'll have to deal with it. But most of it's panic buying is what it is.
Right.
Let's be real.
So if you don't mind right now, when we go and put the address in a property, right here is what you're talking about, this RV multiplier. So
that's it.
Quickly go and change this to 1.10, and that adds 10. You want to add 30, because you're in a really nice area and you know you're going to use nicer finishes. Another function of the tool, right?
Yep.
Use that multiplier. We have our multiplier guides down here for different areas of the country, but we're, like you said, using it for a different reason right now. If I want to go add 30% across the board to my materials and my labor prices, do whatever you need to do right here is a perfect opportunity to do that. So I love that. That's a great way, great function built in to get that done. And that's to increase across
And
the
it's
board.
simple.
Yep.
It's not, I mean,
Yep.
that was one of my criteria, was it make it simple and fast.
Yep. I love it. So, well, great. So I think we've established that, look, as flippers, stop getting nervous. I had a couple of guys that do a lot of deals, big, they have got acquisition teams and they use REP for everything. And he told me flat out, look, Matt, we can't go add 30% to the deals we're looking at right now. We won't get them. Okay.
Right.
The market's crazy enough as it is. So we're not getting panicked here and adding all of these ridiculous sums to our existing numbers to what we're using. So
Right.
I'm comfortable. I just did one last night, Scott. It was 17 minutes away from me. I grabbed REP on the way home in my notebook, and I didn't change a thing. I didn't add any increases to it. It was a standard, it was a grandma house probate.
Mm-hmm.
It needed floors, kitchen, bath. It did need basement work, some beams put in it. So that was a little trickier, but still, it's all surfaces. It's flooring, it's cabinets, countertops, paint, and that's it. And windows. Windows they're not increasing in price that I've seen across the board right now, but they are taking longer to get. So
our local RIA has a vendor member, and he's talking 8 to 12 weeks.
Yep. So that part is getting trickier with lead times on getting into exterior. But I've also sold a house where we had a contract and we showed it to them. It was paid for, and we sold it, and then the guys came back and installed them after they came in. So got to be creative, you know. And especially with no inventory right now and people wanting to get into a house, they were more than happy. We had everything there saying that, and we left money in escrow, for it. So it was, it's all good. We got it done.
Mm-hmm.
So, but man, I think I don't want to make this overwhelming. I don't want to make this, too long either. But I really think that, with what we're seeing and what's happening right now, answering that question about, look, we're not directly, unless you're a home builder and that's a different tool, that you're using, unless, you're developing homes and building all the time, our products are basic products that we're still able to find. There have not been major price increases on them. Shingles, you do have to keep up with, I will toggle that price up a little bit right now on roofing. But I still have guys that have their own stock of shingles because I don't mess around with going to the store and buying them myself. So I have contractors that have their own supplies of shingles still. So again, get creative with what you're doing too, and finding the right people and the right suppliers, the right vendors, contractors right now.
And if you're not sure, adjust the price a little.
Yep.
You have a base price, what the cost of the roof is supposed to be. And if you're uncomfortable with it, adjust it, because you can adjust on the bulk level, or you can adjust at the kind of the individual item level.
Right. Correct. Great point. Yep. So, and again, where is a great spot to drop questions, Scott, if you want the power of the group here?
The Facebook group is great.
Yep.
If you're a rehab estimator subscriber, then you get access to the Facebook group, Rehab Estimator Pro, and ask, I let people in when they have a subscription.
Yep.
Even if it's a trial subscription, which there are only a few left.
Okay.
But that's a great place.
Private group.
Right.
Yep.
And then on the website itself, there's a contact us page, and you can drop stuff in there. It probably come to me, and then if it's more material related, I'll pass it on to Matt.
Yep.
If it's more, how do I, update the business information, then I'll answer it.
Yep. And I actually got a direct request. I have been giving, my number out as well, in places where, hey, look, I become your personal GC, and it was great. I love when people use that. I had a guy call me yesterday. It was actually text. It was Ben. I won't say last names, but he was out in Virginia and had a question about digging trenches for some French drain tile that isn't odd, like, hey, I ran into this. What do you think it will cost? I got my sewer contractor on the line, and we talked about it right there.
Personally, I think you're nuts. But
right, I know, but you know what, Scott, I love this, man. I love it. This is my life. I eat, breathe, sleep this stuff, and I'm in it every day, just like you are. Yeah. I'm the guy that just saw the increases come across my desk that for our accounts, because we have accounts with everybody in town for vendors and materials. I'm the guy who, again, our company just bought paint yesterday, looking for drywall today, ordered cabinets today. Again, I'm in it every day. I know what's happening with prices. I know what's happening with shortages of materials because I'm doing it every day. So that is the difference. We're not just yelling at you and putting pricing in that we, came up with 10 years ago. This is all relevant. So.
And the thing that's nice is that you don't have to know the pricing. That's part of our job, is to make sure that the pricing in there is good pricing, so that you can feel confident that, if I put in a window that, I need 6 windows, that the price that's going to come back is a price that I'm going to be able to get those windows at.
Right. Yep. And remember, guys, before we go, we wanted to keep this less than 30 minutes for you to do it quick on the fly, so you can hear kind of state of the market. But look, everything is about REP is so good for the reason of you getting offers out. Okay. Yeah. Getting offers out. Yep. And that, we call our takedown number. Okay. I mean, getting an offer and making it simple and understanding and trusting the numbers is absolutely crucial. So if you're not sending offers, that means you're not getting contracts and taking down deals. So
in which case it doesn't matter what the price is.
Right. Yeah. And the price increases are completely irrelevant to you.
Right.
If you're not sending offers. So you've got to do it. Trust your numbers, trust the contracts you're sending. And remember, everything's negotiable. You need to get somebody to call you back. This is a tool that you can use with a seller that adds so much credibility to your process that you use in your system versus the clown that walks in with a yellow pad and starts writing stuff down and then shoots a number out of their mouth that says, yeah, it'll be about 30 grand in repairs, so I can offer you 110. How's that sound? Versus, I've got an actual system and tool that I can show them exactly what our offer is based on real numbers.
Yeah, as I say it, it's that I can show you, prove to you why I'm only offering you $5,000 for this house.
Right. Yep. It is a proof. So, yep. And they don't disagree with those numbers when you actually get down to it. So Awesome. Well, I love it, man. Well, I think this was really good. Talking about current pricing. Again, you can talk to our Facebook group. I'm available as well. You can reach us at the support button as well on Rehab Estimator Pro. We are here for you guys. That is the point. We know our numbers. We deal with it every day. So if you have questions, shoot us a call. Hey, drop us a video of your project. We'd love to go through it with you. Yeah. I love to run through what you're seeing. The one I looked at last night had push button, old, as far as the electrical panel, and, a couple of the contractors there that were also, they didn't even know what they were looking at, but they don't need to. All it means is, you need to replace this. So, you're replacing the panel, check the box, easy as that. So, love it. All right. Well, we'll wrap this up and get this out to the rest of the world, and we'll just keep on doing what we do best. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.